There is something happening inside millions of people's bodies right now, quietly, invisibly, and painfully, that most people are too embarrassed to talk about, too uncomfortable to bring up with their doctor, too ashamed to even search online. Constipation. And before you click away, because yes, this topic makes people uncomfortable, I want you to stay. Because what I'm about to share with you is not just about going to the bathroom, it's about your energy levels, your weight, your skin, your mood, your risk of colon cancer, and the silent toxic buildup that happens inside your gut every single day that you're not getting things moving. What if I told you that one of the most powerful, most researched, most proven solutions to this problem has existed in nature for over 3,000 years and costs less than $1 a week? No prescription needed, no harsh laxatives, no side effects that make the cure feel worse than the problem. It's called psyllium husk. And if you've never heard of it, or heard of it but never really understood what it does, this video is going to change the way you think about your gut health forever. Stay with me from beginning to end, because I'm going to start with the facts, and they're going to shock you. Then I'm going to tell you something about psyllium husk that most people have no idea about. And finally, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to use it, step by step, so you can start feeling the difference within days. Let's begin. According to the American Gastroenterological Association, constipation affects approximately 63 million people in North America alone. That's nearly 1 in 5 adults. And that's only counting the people who actually seek medical help for it. The real number, including those who silently suffer, is estimated to be far higher. Globally, constipation affects somewhere between 10 and 20% of the entire world's population at any given time. That is over 700 million to 1 billion people right now, sitting uncomfortable, bloated, straining, and feeling like their body has simply stopped working the way it should. In the United States, constipation is responsible for approximately 2.5 million doctor visits per year, and those are just the visits specifically for constipation. The associated costs in laxatives, medications, diagnostic tests, hospitalizations, and lost productivity run into billions of dollars annually. Now, who suffers most? While constipation affects all age groups, certain populations carry a disproportionately heavy burden. Women are twice as likely to experience chronic constipation as men. Seniors over 65 are up to 5 times more likely to suffer from it compared to younger adults, largely due to decreased physical activity, slower intestinal motility, medication side effects, and reduced fluid intake. And people with sedentary lifestyles, poor diet quality, or high stress, which describes a growing percentage of the modern population, are at dramatically elevated risk. Here's the number that should stop every single person in their tracks. Less than 5% of Americans consume the recommended daily intake of dietary fiber. Less than 5%. The recommended daily fiber intake is 25 grams for women and 38 grams for men. The average American consumes just 10 to 15 grams per day, barely a third of what the body actually needs to keep the digestive system functioning properly. That fiber gap, that massive daily deficit, and is the primary reason constipation is so widespread. It is the reason bloating is normal, the reason millions of people strain every morning, the reason so many people feel heavy, sluggish, and foggy, and don't know why. And when constipation becomes chronic, meaning it lasts for weeks, months, or years, the consequences go far beyond discomfort. Chronic constipation is associated with hemorrhoids, painful swollen blood vessels caused by chronic straining diverticular disease, pouches that form in the colon wall and can become infected colorectal cancer. Research suggests that slower bowel transit time increases cancer risk by keeping carcinogens in contact with the colon lining for longer, leaky gut syndrome, increased intestinal permeability that allows toxins into the bloodstream, systemic inflammation. Chronic constipation raises inflammatory markers throughout the body linked to heart disease, arthritis, and cognitive decline. Mental health effects. The gut-brain axis is real. A sluggish gut is directly associated with depression, anxiety, and brain fog. This is not a topic you can afford to be embarrassed about. Your gut health is your overall health. And it starts with fiber, which brings us to the substance at the center of this video. So what exactly is psyllium husk, and why is it being called by gastroenterologists, nutritionists, and researchers worldwide One of the single most effective natural solutions for constipation and gut health ever studied? Let's go back to where it comes from. Psyllium husk is derived from the seeds of a plant called Plantago ovata, a small shrubby herb that is native to India, Pakistan, and the Mediterranean region. This plant has been used in Ayurvedic medicine for over 3,000 years to treat digestive disorders, inflammatory conditions, and bowel irregularities. The outer coating of the plant's seed, the husk, is harvested, dried, and either left whole or ground into a fine powder. India remains the world's largest producer of psyllium, accounting for over 80% of global supply, which is why you'll often hear it referred to by its Indian name, isabgol or isabgol ki bhusi. Now here's where things get interesting, and I want you to pay close attention to this part because this is what makes psyllium husk fundamentally different from every other fiber source you've ever encountered. Most fiber is either soluble or insoluble. Foods like wheat bran are primarily insoluble. They add bulk and speed things along mechanically. Foods like oats contain soluble fiber. They dissolve in water and form a gel that slows digestion. Psyllium husk is both. It is approximately 70% soluble fiber and 30% insoluble fiber. This dual nature is extraordinarily rare in a single natural source, and it is precisely what makes psyllium husk so uniquely powerful. But the real secret, the thing that has scientists fascinated, is what happens when psyllium husk meets water inside your digestive system. When psyllium husk absorbs water, it doesn't just dissolve or break down like most foods, it transforms into something remarkable. It expands to 10 to 20 times its original size, forming a thick, viscous, gel-like mass that moves slowly and deliberately through every centimeter of your digestive tract. This gel does something no synthetic laxative, no stimulant, and no ordinary food fiber can replicate. It simultaneously softens stool by drawing water into the colon, relieving the hard, dry, painful stools that make constipation so miserable. It adds bulk to loose or watery stools, which means it works for diarrhea too, not just constipation. It lubricates the intestinal walls, allowing stool to pass gently and without straining. It feeds beneficial gut bacteria, acting as a powerful prebiotic, and it creates a slow, sustained movement through the colon that clears the bowels completely, giving you that feeling of true, total relief that most constipation sufferers haven't experienced in years. Think of it like this. If your digestive system is a city's drainage system, psyllium husk is the perfect combination of brush, water, and lubricant moving through every pipe, clearing blockages, cleaning the walls, and restoring full flow. And here's the part that builds the real suspense. This is just the beginning of what psyllium husk does, because the benefits of this humble husk go far, far beyond the bathroom. And once you understand the full picture, you'll understand why calling it merely a constipation remedy is like calling the ocean merely a big puddle. Let's talk about fiber content, because the numbers here are staggering and they explain everything. A single tablespoon of psyllium husk powder, just 1 tablespoon weighing about 9 grams, contains approximately 7 grams of dietary fiber. That's nearly half the average person's daily fiber intake from a single scoop of powder. To put that in perspective, consider what you'd have to eat to get 7 grams of fiber from whole foods alone. You'd need to eat 4 large apples with the skin on, or 3 cups of cooked broccoli, or nearly 6 slices of whole wheat bread, or 2 full cups of cooked oatmeal. 1 tablespoon of psyllium husk. That's it, stirred into a glass of water. Now let's break down what that fiber actually does in the body. Because fiber is good for you is something people hear constantly without ever understanding the specific, remarkable mechanisms at work. The soluble fiber component. The gel creator. The soluble fraction of psyllium forms what scientists call a mucilaginous gel in the intestines. This gel has profound effects on multiple systems simultaneously. In the digestive system, it slows the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream, which means psyllium husk is not just a gut supplement, it's a blood sugar regulator. Multiple clinical trials have confirmed that psyllium husk taken before meals significantly reduces post-meal blood glucose spikes. For people with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, this effect is clinically significant. The gel also binds to bile acids in the small intestine, the cholesterol-derived compounds used in digestion. By trapping bile acids and preventing their reabsorption, psyllium forces the liver to pull cholesterol from the blood to make new bile acids. The net result? Lower LDL cholesterol. Studies show that regular psyllium use can reduce LDL, the bad cholesterol, by 5 to 10% or more, leading the FDA to actually approve a health claim on psyllium products stating it may reduce the risk of heart disease when consumed as part of a low-fat diet. That is a rare and extraordinary regulatory recognition. The gel also creates satiety, a prolonged feeling of fullness, by slowing gastric emptying. This means you feel satisfied longer after meals, eat less overall, and find it easier to maintain or lose weight. For anyone struggling with hunger, overeating, or weight management, this is a significant scientifically supported benefit. The insoluble fiber component, the broom. The insoluble portion of psyllium acts as what nutritionists often call an intestinal broom. It adds bulk to stool, stimulates the muscular walls of the colon to contract rhythmically, a process called peristalsis, and accelerates transit time, the speed at which food waste moves from the small intestine to the rectum. Faster transit time means less time for toxins, carcinogens, and waste products to sit in contact with your colon lining. This is one of the key reasons studies have found associations between higher dietary fiber intake and lower rates of colorectal cancer. The prebiotic effect, feeding the right bacteria. Here's the benefit most people don't know about. Psyllium husk is a prebiotic, meaning it serves as food for beneficial gut bacteria, particularly strains like Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus. When these bacteria ferment psyllium fiber, they produce short-chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate, which are the primary fuel source for the cells lining your colon. Butyrate has anti-inflammatory properties, supports the integrity of the gut barrier, reduces intestinal permeability, and is associated with reduced risk of inflammatory bowel disease and colorectal cancer. A thriving gut microbiome powered by sufficient prebiotic fiber also supports immune function, mood regulation through serotonin production, and even cognitive clarity through the gut-brain axis. Knowing something is powerful is one thing. Knowing exactly how to use it correctly is another. And psyllium husk, while simple, does have specific rules that make the difference between dramatic results and disappointing ones. Follow these steps carefully. Step 1. Choose the right form. Psyllium husk comes in 3 main forms and each has its place. Whole psyllium husk consists of the intact seed husks. It's coarser in texture, slightly milder in effect, and best mixed into thick foods like smoothies, yogurt, oatmeal, or soups. It has a slightly grittier texture and takes a little longer to absorb liquid. Psyllium husk powder is finely ground psyllium. This is the most popular form and the most studied in clinical research. It absorbs water faster, gels more readily, and is generally more convenient. This is what most experts recommend for beginners and for therapeutic use. 1 heaped teaspoon to 1 tablespoon is a typical serving. Capsules are available for those who truly cannot tolerate the texture or taste. The benefit is convenience and ease of swallowing. The downside is that capsules typically deliver a smaller dose per serving, require taking multiple capsules, and the water intake alongside them becomes even more critical. For best results, psyllium husk powder is the recommended form for most people. When purchasing, look for pure psyllium husk powder with no additives, no artificial flavors, no added sugars, and no fillers. Read the ingredient list. There should be one ingredient, psyllium husk. Many commercial fiber supplements like Metamucil contain psyllium, but also add sugar, artificial sweeteners, and colorings. The pure form is superior and more economical. Step 2. Start small and build up slowly. This is the mistake most people make when they first try psyllium husk. They take too much, too fast. If your gut is not accustomed to high fiber intake, and statistically it probably isn't, adding a large dose of psyllium immediately can cause bloating, gas, cramping, and discomfort. This is not a sign that psyllium is harming you. It's a sign that your gut bacteria are adjusting to the new fiber source. Week 1, start with 1-2 teaspoon per day mixed into a large glass of water. Let your system adjust. Week 2, increase to 1 teaspoon per day. Week 3 onwards, work up gradually to 1 tablespoon, approximately 5 to 10 grams once or twice daily, based on your individual needs and how your body responds. The therapeutic dose used in clinical studies is generally 10 to 20 grams per day, split into 2 servings. But most people find significant relief at lower doses, especially if they're also increasing whole food fiber sources alongside psyllium. Slow and steady, your gut will reward your patience. Step 3, water is non-negotiable. This is the most critical rule of psyllium husk use, and ignoring it can actually make constipation worse. Psyllium husk must be taken with a large, generous amount of water. When you take psyllium with insufficient fluid, it can thicken and clump before reaching the stomach, potentially causing difficulty swallowing, choking, or even creating a thick mass in the esophagus or intestines that is harder, not easier, to pass. The rule is simple. Mix each serving of psyllium husk into at least 250 milliliters, that's a full 8-ounce glass, of water or other liquid. Stir well and drink it immediately before it gels too thickly in the glass. After drinking your psyllium mixture, follow it with another full glass of water. Throughout the day, aim for a total of 8 to 10 glasses of water. Psyllium draws water into the colon to soften stool and maintain the gel. If you're not adequately hydrated, psyllium has nothing to work with, and the result is the opposite of what you want. If you find the texture of psyllium in water unappealing, you can mix it into fresh fruit juice, no added sugar, a smoothie, warm water with lemon coconut water, warm herbal tea. Some people stir it into yogurt, soups, or oatmeal. The key is that you're consuming it with sufficient liquid regardless of the vehicle. Step 4. Timing your psyllium for maximum effect. When you take psyllium husk affects what you get from it. For constipation relief, take psyllium husk first thing in the morning, mixed in a large glass of water 30 minutes before breakfast. This stimulates the gastrocolic reflex, your body's natural signal to the colon to empty after waking and eating, and begins the softening and bulking process at the start of the day. For blood sugar control, take psyllium husk 15 to 20 minutes before your main meals. The gel it forms in the stomach slows down the digestion and absorption of carbohydrates, blunting the post-meal glucose spike. For cholesterol reduction, take psyllium husk before meals, particularly before your largest meal of the day, to maximize bile acid binding. For weight management, take psyllium husk 15 minutes before eating with a large glass of water. The gel will begin filling the stomach before food arrives, naturally reducing appetite and portion size. For general gut health, once daily is sufficient for most people. For more significant constipation or higher cholesterol, twice daily, the morning and before dinner, is often recommended. Step 5. What to expect. The timeline. Psyllium husk is not an overnight miracle. It is a gentle, sustainable, therapeutic fiber. And it works on a timeline that rewards consistency. Days 1 to 3, you may notice softer stools and slightly easier passage, particularly if you were severely dehydrated or fiber deficient. Some people experience mild bloating or gas as gut bacteria adjust. Days 4 to 7. Most people experience noticeably more regular bowel movements, straining reduces, stool consistency improves, the urgency and incomplete emptying that plagues chronic constipation sufferers begins to resolve. Weeks 2 to 4. Full regularity is typically established. Bloating and gas from the initial adjustment period subside. Energy levels often improve as toxins are moved through and out of the system more efficiently. 1 to 3 months, cholesterol improvements begin to show in blood work. Blood sugar responses to meals become more stable. Gut microbiome diversity increases. Many people report clearer skin, improved mood, reduced bloating after meals, and better energy, benefits they never expected from a constipation remedy. Psyllium husk works best as a daily long-term habit, not a short-term fix. Like exercise or good sleep, its benefits compound over time. Step 6. Important cautions and interactions. Psyllium husk is extremely safe for the vast majority of people. It has no serious side effects when used correctly and with adequate hydration. However, there are important considerations to keep in mind. Medication interactions. Psyllium can reduce the absorption of certain medications, including blood pressure drugs, diabetes medications, cholesterol medications, and some antidepressants. The solution is simple. Take any medications at least 1 to 2 hours before or after your psyllium dose. Never take them together. Allergies. Rare psyllium. Allergies have been reported, typically presenting as skin reactions, sneezing, or respiratory symptoms in people who handle psyllium powder regularly, more often an occupational concern than a consumer one. If you experience any allergic symptoms, discontinue use and consult a doctor. Bowel obstructions. Anyone with a history of bowel obstruction, difficulty swallowing, or narrow esophageal issues should speak with their doctor before using psyllium. Children. Psyllium can be used for children, but only under medical guidance, with doses appropriate to body weight and age. For the vast majority of healthy adults, psyllium husk is not only safe, but genuinely beneficial across multiple body systems. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. Constipation is not just a plumbing problem, it is a signal from your body, a sign that something foundational is missing, and in the vast majority of cases, what's missing is fiber. Specifically the kind of slow, gel-forming, gut-nourishing, cholesterol-binding, blood sugar-stabilizing fiber that psyllium husk provides better than almost anything else in nature. The facts are clear. Over 700 million people worldwide suffer from constipation. Less than 5% of people get enough fiber. Chronic constipation is connected to colon cancer, heart disease, inflammation, mood disorders, and weight gain. And psyllium husk, a 3,000-year-old remedy that costs almost nothing, has been clinically proven to address all of these concerns simultaneously. This is not hype. This is not a trend. This is ancient wisdom confirmed by modern science. If you've been suffering from constipation, whether occasionally or chronically, I want you to try psyllium husk. Start small, drink plenty of water, be consistent, give it 4 weeks. You may be astonished not just by what changes in the bathroom, but by how you feel overall. Lighter, cleaner, clearer, more energized, more regular, more like yourself. Your gut is the foundation of your health. Give it the one thing it has always needed. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you found this information helpful, take a moment to check in with your doctor, especially if your constipation has been chronic, painful, or accompanied by any bleeding or significant changes in bowel habits. Those symptoms deserve professional evaluation. Take care of your gut. It takes care of everything else.